Hey, it's Miss Kitty with Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures, and I'm here on location at Fort Verde up in Camp Verde, Arizona. And I've talked about this fort in previous videos, but here I am just here to tour it. So come along with me and let's take a tour of Fort Verde. In the rugged landscape of the Arizona Territory, established in 1863, a new chapter of American history was unfolding. By 1864, the territorial capital of Prescott had been established, attracting Anglo settlers eager to carve out a new life in the West. However, this influx brought conflict with the Tonto Apache and Yavapai Indians, who had long called this land home. Tensions escalated as the Indians raided Anglo farms for crops and livestock, prompting settlers to fight back. By May of 1865, these settlers were demanding military protection, and the first volunteers arrived, establishing a tent camp in August of that year. In December 1865, Camp Lincoln was officially established, serving as a makeshift military post until 1871. Regular U.S. Army troops arrived in September 1866, and 2 years later the camp was renamed Camp Verde. However, malaria plagued the camp, forcing the Army to move a mile south to its present location in the summer of 1870. Construction of the new fort began in 1871 and was completed by 1873. The fort was designed to house 2 companies of cavalry and 2 of infantry, though it usually hosted just 1 of each. 22 buildings were arranged around a central parade ground, creating a hub of military activity. In 1873, the Rio Verde Reservation was established near Cottonwood, placing 1,500 Indians on 800 square miles of land. With the Army's assistance, the Indians constructed an irrigation ditch and, by 1874, had 56 acres under cultivation. However, this relative stability was short-lived. In a cold February of 1875, the entire population of the Rio Verde Reservation was forcibly relocated to the San Carlos Agency near Globe. The grueling 180-mile, 10-day trek claimed the lives of around 100 Indians who perished from exposure, insufficient food, and internal conflicts. Following their removal, the former reservation land was opened to miners and settlers in 1877. By 1879, the fort was renamed Fort Verde, continuing to play a pivotal role in the final stages of the Northern Apache Wars. The last major action occurred on July 17, 1882. In 1885, Troop 1 of the 10th Cavalry, known as the Buffalo Soldiers, arrived at Fort Verde. However, as the Indian Wars wound down, the fort's importance waned, and it was eventually abandoned by the U.S. Army in April 1891. The fort was sold at public auction in 1899, but its legacy as a key outpost in the turbulent history of the American West lives on. One of the more intriguing displays here at Fort Verde's museum is the result of privy digging. This meticulous process involves locating and excavating defunct outhouse vaults. While it may seem unusual, these sites are treasure troves of history, revealing everyday household artifacts from the past, including antique bottles and other items that offer a glimpse into the lives of those who once called Fort Verde home. Hey, I hate to interrupt the story, but if you're liking this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. Today, Fort Verde State Historic Park spans just over 11 acres, featuring 4 historic buildings, 2 ruins, 3 support structures, and a portion of the original parade ground. Each of these spaces offers a unique window into the past. The administration building, once the heart of military operations, now serves as the visitor center and museum. It houses exhibits that detail the history of Fort Verde and the surrounding area. The commanding officer's quarters reflect the domestic life of the fort's highest-ranking officer and his family. These quarters provide insight into both military and family life during the Indian Wars era. The daughter's room, adorned with period-appropriate furnishings, highlights the modest yet personal space where the commanding officer's daughter would have lived and grown up. The son's bedroom showcases the typical belongings of a young boy during the late 19th century, offering a glimpse into childhood at a frontier military post. The striker's room was the living space for an enlisted soldier tasked with assisting the family with chores, cooking, and watching over the children. In exchange for his services, the striker received additional pay and a room in the house. The master bedroom served as the private retreat for the commanding officer and his spouse. The furnishings reflect the comforts and style of the period, offering a contrast to the harsh realities of frontier life. The parlor was the social hub of the home, where the family entertained guests and spent time together. It's a space that would have been used for everything from formal gatherings to informal family moments. The dining room, set with period tableware, represents the center of family life where meals were shared. It reflects the importance of family traditions, even in the midst of military duty. The outhouse, a three-seater, served the entire household and is a reminder of the more utilitarian aspects of life on the frontier. Despite its simple function, it was an essential part of daily life. The bachelor's officers' quarters offered a more modest living arrangement for unmarried officers stationed at Fort Verde. These rooms provided the essentials: a bed, a desk, and basic furnishings, reflecting the simpler lifestyle of those who focus solely on their military duties without the responsibilities of a family. Let's see what's in here. Oh my, he frightened me. The surgeon's quarters at Fort Verde served as both the home and workplace for the post surgeon and his family. While the fort had a hospital on site, many surgical procedures were performed right here, within these walls, due to the immediacy of need and the limited medical resources available. The surgery room was a crucial place where life and death decisions were made. In this room, the surgeon performed a range of procedures, from amputations to treating severe wounds. The conditions were far from ideal, with minimal sterilization and a high risk of infection. Despite these challenges, the surgeon was often the last line of defense against the many dangers that soldiers faced on the frontier. Medicine on the frontier was a daunting challenge. Treating illnesses and injuries was made difficult by the lack of modern medical supplies and the sheer isolation of the fort. Surgeons had to rely on limited tools and remedies, often making do with what was available. In many cases, recovery depended as much on the patient's resilience as on the surgeon's skill. Fort Verde stands as the best surviving assemblage of Indian Wars-era military architecture in the state of Arizona. These buildings, carefully preserved, offer a rare and authentic glimpse into the military life of the late 19th century, making this site an invaluable resource for understanding the history of the region. Fort Verde is located in the heart of Camp Verde, a town rich in history and charm. While visiting, make sure to explore the Rock Jail, a fascinating relic built in 1933 from local river rock. This tiny one-room jail once housed outlaws and troublemakers, offering a glimpse into the rough-and-tumble life of a frontier town. Together, Fort Verde and the Rock Jail provide a unique journey back in time, showcasing the enduring legacy of Arizona's pioneer days. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures, where we toured Fort Verde here in Camp Verde, Arizona. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell for notifications. And in the meantime, I'll catch you on down the trail.